A gentleman through and through, Spain's Manuel Orantes was known as one of the friendliest players on tour. However, beneath his heart of gold was the heart of a champion. And this Spanish tennis great certainly knew how to fight back for the win.
I remember Manolo at Forest Hills, before we moved here to the Arthur Ashe Stadium in Flushing Meadows, and him playing on the clay there. Unbelievable drop shot.
Play. Orantes handled it perfectly.
An unbelievable feel off both sides, and this guy could maneuver the ball around and move around as well as anyone. And a real joy to watch.
He was a great stylist, a lot of craftsmanship out there and ingenuity, and he had great feel and finesse. Deceptive, agile, good thinker on the court, and a sportsman through and through.
Just love watching him. Especially on the clay with his lefty shots.
He was the great left-handed Spanish clay court player of his time.
He dominated the game in the 1970s and 80s.
Orantes, the baseline clay court specialist, was in total command in the first set, winning easily 6-2.
Manuel reached the #2 ranking in the world in 1973 and remained in the top 10 for 5 consecutive years. He earned 33 singles titles and 22 doubles titles during his lengthy career.
In 1975 at Forest Hills, he had one of the great major tournament triumphs of any player of that era, because he knocked off Ilie Nastase in the quarters, a former champion. Then he beat Guillermo Vilas, fellow left-hander, in the semifinals, saving 5 match points, coming back from 2-1 down, 5-love in the 4th set. Magnificent comeback. Goes into the wee small hours of the morning.
The next day, he faced the seemingly invincible Jimmy Connors, a fan favorite who was #1 seed and defending champion. Not intimidated, Manuel decisively defeated Connors in straight sets to claim the U.S. Open title.
Game, set, and match to Orantes.
What a run that was, past Nastase, Vilas, and then finally winning the title over the defending champion, Jimmy Connors.
And I was there live, and it was an amazing win.
Everyone can remember the tournament at Forest Hills that he won, and after staying up all night and playing that long match and coming back and winning. What an achievement, what a great athlete and a great competitor.
Manuel was a member of the Spanish Davis Cup team for 14 years. He was integral in leading the team to the 1967 Challenge Round against Australia, and he was also a member of Spain's victorious 1978 World Team Cup roster.
And he'd started off as a ball boy with this dream of becoming a great tennis champion, and he more than realized that dream.
With his genuine sportsmanship, remarkable success on the courts, and devotion to the game, Manuel Orantes has truly earned his place among the greatest legends of tennis as a member of the International Tennis Hall of Fame's class of 2012. When young Jennifer Capriati first stepped on the professional tour at age 13, she wasted no time in showing the world that a star had arrived.
And she's got it, Jennifer Capriati. Again, incredible, unbelievable. What a feat of endurance.
She accomplished so much through so many different ways in her career. She was the early childhood phenom.
It hasn't taken Jennifer long to make an endearing impression on the public. Her poise and confidence is something you don't quite expect from most 14-year-olds who are more interested in meeting boys at the mall rather than Martina Navratilova on center court.
I'm just not afraid to go out there or nervous. I just want to go out there and play.
I remember seeing her as a youngster come through the ranks there and make a huge impact right away.
You think about her emerging when she turned pro before she was even 14 years old.
In her first season on the WTA, Jennifer reached the finals of 2 of her first 3 pro events.
When she reached the final of that very first tournament, everyone knew she was here to stay.
She had a unique talent in her ball striking. She hit the ball so cleanly. She could hurt you off the forehand and the backhand. She was very powerful.
Capriati's game obviously relied on power. That was the case from the beginning. Really a more complete player than I think a lot of people give her credit for being.
In 1992, she captured the Olympic gold medal at the Barcelona Games.
Down the line, did it touch the line? It did! Jennifer Capriati will be rolling for gold!
Defeating both second-seeded Arantxa Sanchez Vicario and top-seeded Stephanie Graf.
Jennifer meant a lot to American tennis. She won the gold in the Olympics, and she was a big part of American women tennis having so much success. And with that, you get a next generation of players looking up to you.
After taking a break in the mid to late 1990s, Jennifer came back in full force in 1999, recommitted to the game, stronger than ever, and driven by a competitive spirit that elevated her to be untouchable.
She had her trials and tribulations, but through it all, she persevered. Some of the best tennis of her career was when she matured and understood how to fulfill her potential.
Jennifer's comeback kicked into full gear when she overcame world #1 Martina Hingis at the 2001 Australian Open.
And she's got it, Jennifer Capriati. The joy.
Just months later, she won the French Open.
There it is!
Beat Kim Clijsters from a set down, losing the first set 6-1 to win 12-10 in the third.
The tennis world was already giving Jennifer high marks for a stellar comeback when she earned the reputation as being one of the toughest competitors on tour at the 2002 Australian Open.
That epic match against Martina Hingis in the heat of the Australian Open final.
She was down 6-4, 4-love, with Hingis beating on the door of the championship.
Hingis had 2 match points and Capriati held serve to force the tiebreak.
But Jennifer saved 4 championship points to eventually prevail 4-6, 7-6, 6-2 to claim her 3rd Grand Slam title.
Capriati wins again. Incredible.
This wasn't a fluke when she won her major. She backed it up. She won 3 majors. She became #1.
Well, I just want to be the best I can be, which is, I hope, #1.
I think she should be extremely satisfied with her career.
It's incredible. She won her first Grand Slam 10 years after she came out on the tour. Not many players can pull that off.
She worked really hard to overcome everything she went through and, just dedicated herself and was able to achieve her dreams and her goals. So that's a great example for a lot of youngsters.
She was an indefatigable competitor, and that's what I'll always think of most when I think of Jennifer Capriati.
She's obviously left a big mark in tennis. She's done so much.
I think Jennifer is one of the greatest tennis players that the U.S. has ever produced.
Strong, talented, inspirational. The International Tennis Hall of Fame is proud to salute one of the most dynamic women in the game, 2012 Hall of Famer Jennifer Capriati.
Gustavo Kuerten has been elected into the International Tennis Hall of Fame.
Gustavo Kuerten no Hall da Fama do Tênis.
With his beaming smile, engaging personality, and high-energy game, the lively atmosphere that Gustavo Kuerten brought to tennis stadiums around the world was nothing short of extraordinary.
He didn't just win, he won with style and grace and a certain electricity.
Someone told me one of Guga's legacies is that you hear his name and instinctively you smile.
A lot of things to love about Guga. He's one of the happiest people that you'll ever see. I love the energy he brings, and I also love that he's probably the best example of a bobblehead you'll ever see.
His hair and his demeanor and the way he used to bop his head around and the loosey-goosey nature of his game.
What you loved about Guga was his joie de vivre. I mean, the guy loved tennis, he loved being out there.
I think he had one of the most elegant, beautiful one-handed backhands I've ever seen. I consider it to be one of the great backhands of all time. It was a shot that the galleries just loved to watch. That was the signature shot that I think separated Guga Kuerten from the rest of the pack.
But it was really his persona, his personality, in addition to his tennis, that I think made fans all over the world just adore this guy.
Just one of these players who everybody liked.
You know, I was a guy I actually pulled for him, you know, when he's out there at Roland Garros, winning his three majors there at Roland Garros. I love to watch that guy. Such a great, charismatic character.
And he was such a unique personality, so charismatic, one of the true entertainers in the sport.
In 1997, Guga was ranked number 66 in the world and had just 8 ATP Tour victories to his name when he entered Roland Garros. While no one may have seen Gustavo coming that year, when he lifted the Champions Trophy and thanked the fans with a giant smile, it was clear that a star had arrived.
I think we all remember him sort of bursting upon the scene, bursting into prominence, you might say, in '97 when he came out of nowhere to win the French Open, won a string of 5-setters. And from that moment on, Kuerten had established himself as a real top-of-the-line, great tennis player.
Although it was not a final, he often cites the 4th round of the French Open in 2000 as one of the most memorable and treasured moments of his career. After saving 3 match points for the victory, Guga first etched his iconic heart in the clay court.
Who can forget, you know, his French Open runs that he had there, and when he did the big heart on the court and he laid down.
In the years that followed, Guga became one of the most dominant clay court players of his time. He captured the French Open title again in 2000 and 2001 and won a total of 20 singles titles and 8 doubles titles.
But there's no doubt that Gustavo Kuerten deserves to be a first ballot Hall of Famer.
In 2000, for the first time in history, the #1 year-end position came down to the final match of the season.
Getting to #1 in the world the way he did, and I remember that year-end championships, I was covering it there. He beat Agassi and Sampras, which he had to do to clinch the year-end #1.
To me, that in many ways was on a level, if not surpassing, some of his exploits at the French Open.
That same year, Gustavo embarked on another important venture to which he still dedicates himself to today. Inspired by his late brother Guilherme, he opened the institute Guga Kuerten to help disabled people throughout Brazil.
Guga is one of those one-name celebrities in all the world, but especially in Brazil. He's probably one of the top, I would say, top 5 most recognizable people in the whole country. And he puts good use to that leverage.
I think it's great for the country of Brazil, great for South Americans in general, and it's, you know, great for those kids to have a role model and say they want to grow up and be like Guga.
He's just been an incredible asset and really one of the great guys in the game.
A national hero to Brazilians, champion beloved by tennis fans worldwide, 3-time winner at Roland Garros, world #1, and now a Tennis Hall of Famer, Guga Kuerten.